All right, so this is Don Miller, Don Miller Jr. I'm here with my great friend at EXP, Tony Camilleri. Tony is one of the more successful if agent developing a group agents at EXP doing that, and he is one of the, if not the first person that has taken the time to give me a hand when I moved my small brokerage over to EXP, myself and the three agents that I had. So he's always been a great friend. He's been a mentor and just, but more a friend than anything. So he's always been there for 5 years. So it's just, I love Tony, and everybody loves Tony. Everybody loves Tony. But Tony, just say hi to everybody. And
hey, everyone. Glad to be here. I'm excited to be here with Don. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, good. Glad you're here. I know we try to connect every time you come in town or we meet up. We have lunch and breakfast and dinner and whatnot. So, but what I wanted to do is I wanted you to tell us a little bit about your real estate journey, how it started, what got you started, what brought you into real estate, and where you're at, and then we'll segue into where we're at these days.
Sounds great. Yeah. Well, to kind of keep it simple. I was in corporate America, wanted to get out of that. I was like, what am I going to do? And I was having a talk with one of my guys that I was working with, and we looked at, man, let's get into real estate investing, right? So, which is up your alley, right, Don, as the investor, right? Exactly. So, but no, that was how I entered. I wanted to just go flip properties. And so then I realized, oh, well, you're supposed to have your real estate license if you're going to sell more than 5. I don't know if I think that's a Michigan thing. I don't know if that's nationwide. So anyway, I got my license and I didn't really use it other than to sell my own properties. And then, a few years went by and I was like, well, this is silly. I've got a license. I could use this to make some more money and just help people buy, sell houses. And so I just kind of casually started in with that. But, I was with a no-name investor guy that had a broker's license, worked with him to get started for a few months. And then I moved over to ERA Realty, paid a lot of fees, didn't get much help or support there. And then I went to a seminar and joined RE/MAX. So that's where I was most of my career, was at RE/MAX. And I actually moved to a different RE/MAX office because I found another broker that I liked, just a better person and broker. Sure. That was pretty cool. So I have experience, at different brokerages. In the meantime, I went to another independent at one point. I did get a second license in Texas. I was going to move there. Wow. So I had a license there, went with Keller Williams. And then I left there quickly after being on a team and joined an independent broker, one of the largest in the Houston market. And anyway, came back to Michigan and I was going to build a brokerage, Don, with a partner. And
I did.
Yeah, I said, let's do this. We had a lot of people interested in real estate. We were in the credit repair business. I built a large organization with that. And we got to talking and we're like, all right, man, all the stuff, we got to get lead generation systems, get the office set up and all that stuff you got to do, to help bring value so the agents want to join you. And I have to tell you, so this is, I don't know if you want me to segue from here, but so this is what we're doing is we're building this brokerage. That was already in existence. I was partnering with someone who had a brokerage, but they had, me and one other agent. And we said, well, shoot, let's do this. Kind of reluctantly, because I said I never wanted to own a brokerage for the liability, the headache. I didn't want to be answering all the questions and responsible for all these agents. But now I have someone who they've already got everything set up. It's all there. They even had an office. I'm like, okay, let's just get the rest of this done. Okay. Because we had people that want to join us. And funny how the world works. Somebody contacted me and said, hey, listen, I want to talk to you about some real estate, something interesting in real estate. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's talk. And guess what they told me? EXP. Nobody. I'm like, what is EXP? Never heard of it. There were 2,000 agents. And, it's just funny when I look back, and I'll have to tell you, Don, when I was saying, I know I am a little unique, and I know this because I was talking to people. I saw this and I said, this will be the biggest real estate company in the world. It was 2,000 agents, mind you.
Yeah.
And never saw a sign in Michigan ever anywhere. And I just saw the model and I said, this is it. Trust me. I joined immediately. The person I was partnering with, who was the broker, I said, we're going to join this. And she was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. I joined. She was in the middle of some stuff, and she didn't kind of talk to me a couple weeks later, and it's like, "What are you doing? What are we?" And I was like, "Just sign up." And that's the beginning of the story of EXP, man. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I believe me, I know. That's, I went to presentation just for the to at the request of a friend, and I went back. I saw that, and I said, "This is a no-brainer." Went back and talked to my agents, and I said, "Guys, you got to look at this." And they're like, "Okay, we're in." And it was that easy, you know. And so, but now you're. I guess it's kind of a question. You were a solo agent. You didn't really have a team, but then you were getting involved, quote unquote, as far as part of a brokerage as well, even though you weren't going to be the broker. Is that Is that
that's right.
correct?
Yeah, I was actually, yeah, she was the broker. I was just gonna, I was selling real estate, and
Right.
but we had a lot of people who were asking us about real estate, and they were like, "Yeah, I think about being an agent." We're like, "Well, wait a minute. Why don't we just bring them on to your brokerage and we can train them and help them and then make money, right?" We're like, we'll just
Right.
keep growing because we were recruiting people into a credit repair business. And a lot of them, the natural progression was because that's not a sustainable business model to be in just selling credit repair. I mean, that's like
Right.
it was a great, quick thing, but that's not a long-term goal. So I was like, let's get people into real estate, which is a real business that you can do
Hmm.
long-term. And that's what was happening. And so,
Yeah.
but while I was doing it, I have to tell you, I was reluctant. I mean, as you know, you were a broker, or you are a broker, but you were running a shop. And I was like, man, I just don't want to do this. But I had someone else that could take the responsibility. She was the broker. I was just there going to help
Sure.
build it. But I had no experience, guys. I had no experience with being a team leader. I just sold some real estate. And I wasn't even that big of a producer, to be honest with you. But I thought
Right.
it was an opportunity to grow and leverage yourself, right? We all want to leverage. We want to make more money, and that's what I saw in that opportunity. But I have to tell you, this conversation is going on. I don't even know if it was a month, 2 months, somewhere in there that we actually started to get going when I heard about EXP.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
dropped that idea, the brokerage building that with her, like in 2 seconds, as soon as I saw them,
Right. I
right?
guess I wish I'd have known 15 years ago when I started mine,
Right.
because it just made complete sense. I'm thinking, looking like, oh my God, what have I been doing all these years?
Absolutely.
So now what was, because you were basically a solo agent, what is probably the most challenging aspect of being a solo agent as you were getting started? And granted, you weren't doing a lot of transactions, I get that. But did you have challenges with something that you felt like was holding you back?
To be more successful as a solo agent, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, I was at a couple of good brokerages, and the one, he would want to do coaching, but I went to the coaching. I just felt like I wasn't getting what I needed to really generate more business. You know what?
Right.
I learned on my own. I was like, let me try this realtor.com. I mean, someone, well, we all get called, right? And I took a shot. And so
Right.
that's how I got my production up. I mean, that's how I got eventually, I started spending money. And mind you, I'm doing this all on my own. I did hire a coach
Right.
at one time, and they weren't really providing me much value. But yeah, my challenge was getting leads, and my challenge was,
Right.
learning. I mean, I didn't have any problem. I mean, I was already like investing and selling and negotiations and all that stuff. I mean, I feel like wasn't a problem. It was getting the leads, which, I talk to agents, and that's the biggest problem is how do I get more leads and how do I
Mhm.
develop my business? And so that was a challenge. I wasn't getting any training, right? Remax, the broker wasn't really a lifelong bro. I mean, he had just kind of he had some money and he decided to open a brokerage, and he's not even
Oh,
in
wow.
anyway. By the way, that was a
Yeah.
short-lived deal. Yeah, so I needed more training, I needed more leads, I needed to know how to run a real business and be sustainable. So I
Right.
was going to seminars to learn, but no brokerage was providing me that.
Right. Right.
And I was like, wow. And so when I saw EXP and what they had to offer, now mind you, there's only 2,000 agents, the training platform. I'll be honest, I can't really remember. Man, I don't know what it was looked like exactly then. I know there was training.
Mhm.
I thought it was cool. I was like, wow, this is good stuff. I thought it was very
Right.
relevant training.
Right.
Pet peeve, I went to a Keller Williams, that office I told you about, and the person in front of the room was reading me a book. And quite honestly, the way they were dressed and the way they talked, didn't look like she ever sold a house in her life.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, I get the game.
What's
You hire
what's that saying? Those that can't do, teach, or something like
That's
that.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. And I thought, okay, well, this is great. I mean, I'm sure the book was well written, but someone's just reading me a book about something they've never done. And I went to the class a couple of times. This is a waste of my time. I'm not gonna
Right.
bother with this.
Well,
So
it's interesting. I was going to say it's interesting because I mean, EXP does require the most successful agents in the country to basically give back, and a huge chunk of them do it in training in the current most relevant trainings to the current environment, whether it's going up or whether it's going down or whether it's sideways or it's sellers, buyers, and so I think for a lot of agents that's fascinating that is there. Yeah.
yeah, that's actually, Don, that's one of my biggest things I talk about with EXP and the training, because our top producing agents, as you mentioned, we call them icon agents. They have to, in order to get their cap back money in stock, right? They have to give back in training. That's part of this,
Right.
one of the requirements, and they train it live in our cloud campus, and so that is big, right? Because markets change like that. Well, if you're
Right.
going to a sales training class that's like, okay, just training 101, that most of these companies, no knock on them, but they're just reading you a book that was written 100 years ago, and that's what
Right.
they're training on. That's not relevant with all the different things that we see, COVID, right? And,
Right.
market crashes and market goes up and inflate, all these interest rates skyrocket. Well, okay, how do you succeed in that market? I need to know, what is somebody that's actually selling today in this market and being successful at it? I want to learn from them. And that's
Absolutely.
the offers. And so I highlight that all the time. And that's, something we can access on a daily basis, Monday through Friday,
Right.
live.
Well, you still do transactions here and there.
Yep,
Is that correct?
that's
Yeah,
correct.
but a lot of your what you spend a lot of time now is actually helping agents understand EXP,
Correct.
and the agents decide that the opportunity for them is a good opportunity or a promising opportunity, and you help agents do that a lot. And if I understand correctly, if I recall, you have well over 600 agents in your group.
Yep.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that's
We're
amazing.
approaching 700 agents, and yep, they're
That's
nationwide.
amazing.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, I sometimes I just look, I'm like, wow, this is, it is a blessing. I mean, I was never, like I said, I never ran a team. I never recruited anybody. I didn't know how that works. And I just thought, well, this just makes sense. So I will
Right.
figure it out. And I have to say, I mean, I didn't just figure it out. I went to trainings. I learned from some of the best in the business. I mean, people that were running massive Remax and Keller Williams offices
Yeah.
moved to EXP, and they're talented. And I
Yeah.
figured, well, I want to learn from the best. And those are the people that I decided to follow and learn from. And if they had a training and it was in Mexico, I was in Mexico, man. I'm like, I'm there because I know I need to learn what it is. And, and quite honestly, what I've learned through all that is just to have a conversation, a very transparent, no pressure conversation with agents, to just ask about their business and find out what they're trying to achieve and see if there's a fit. And I don't do any hard close or sale or try to pressure anyone into anything. I just share experiences and what we offer.
Right.
And it's been, it's very enjoyable, to have those conversations, because people, they see, wow, man, maybe there's something in this for me. Maybe I can change. And hey, sometimes they're happy today, and tonight they're not, because their broker ticked them off, right? Or something they didn't realize, or
Yeah.
maybe they realize, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of opportunity over here with EXP.
Hmm.
And I don't
Yeah.
have a retirement. What am I going to do for retirement, right? Oh man,
Uh-huh.
maybe EXP can offer me something like that. Maybe that stock or that rev share or something could contribute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have been, because you talk to a lot of agents, you have a lot of agents in your group, you talk to a lot of agents. What are you kind of hearing from agents, what they're expecting maybe in the medium term future? I mean, here in the middle of 2023, are they kind of giving you a sense what they're thinking for 23, maybe into 24? Is anybody really said anything, or is it just everybody completely up in the air right now?
I mean, everyone's just kind of like, it doesn't, I mean, well, from what people are saying, they're just, I mean, if they're experienced and they're really crushing it, then they're planning on growth and trying to make things happen. Although things have been obviously slow right now with the economy the way it is, and interest rates high and inventory low, which is pretty common across the country. I mean, yeah, people are a little scared, a little frustrated. I mean, quite honestly, I've had several agents go back to work, get jobs, because they're just not
Hmm.
getting the volume they need. So, people are a little nervous, about where
Yeah.
things are going. Is when's it going to pick back up? If these rates don't drop, it's not going to free up enough people to sell. I mean, I just read an
Yeah.
article today that said, if it's really, you know, people, if their rates are in the fives, they're willing to sell, but only 1 in 5 people have a rate in the fives. Well, it's
Right.
like, okay, so statistically, we know there's only going to be so many sales,
Right.
but yeah, that's kind of where it's at. So, I mean, I think it's like you have a lot of people
Well,
coming in the business, but a lot of people getting out of the business right now.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just I think just think we're so lucky, and because I do a lot of mentoring for newer agents, and when you have some of our best agents in the country are teaching them some of the most current things to help generate business and to handle clients and deal with clients and whatnot. So I think that's it's easy. It's great for me to be able to point our new agents to the trainings that some of the most advanced, some of the most out of the box trainings that they can do, oftentimes for no money. And
Absolutely.
so it's great. So, all right, Tony. Well, listen, it's been great. I wanted to get a chance to chat with you. It's such a pleasure chatting with you. It's even better seeing you and having lunch or
Absolutely.
dinner. But if you make it back to the East Coast, obviously I want to get together. So thank you so much for your time, and let's get together as soon as you get a chance.
Absolutely, man. Great talking with you, Don.
Okay,
Talk
bye
to you
bye
soon.
now.
All right. Yep.
Here we go.